Welcome! I am Kay's Manhwa faves. Hey friends! Thanks for dropping by. Today we will listen to a manhwa titled The Limited Princess. The story is about Jae-un. She is an ordinary employee who woke up one day as Princess Shaylia, the villain in a novel written by her sister. Let's follow along as she tries to avoid her fate as a villain and live her own happily ever after. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe and ring that bell for more. Let's begin. The prologue begins with a woman with long blonde hair in her bedroom. She is looking at her reflection in the mirror. She is recalling a novel she read in the past. In the novel Rose of Isonia, the main character Eclet is a dutiful woman of humble origins who is unaware that she is of royal descent. After various circumstances lead her to regain her position as the long-lost princess, she must defeat the villainous Shaylia who has falsely claimed her rightful place. Overcoming adversity with grace and courage, Eclet finally triumphs, reclaims her royal birthright, and in the end, even finding true love. Suddenly a maid enters the room and notes that the blonde woman, Princess Shaylia, is already awake. Yes, she is the Princess Shaylia of the novel, but she is a different one. She recalls her younger sister having written the novel that she is currently in. It's been a week since she arrived, and wonders why must she be the bad guy. Though she likes being a princess, she knows her fate, forsaken and burned at the stake. Even she herself disliked her character. Lounging around and eating good food cannot last, since she knows that once Eclet arrives, the story will set in motion. Maybe her sister Jae gave her this chance. Shaylia decides to ditch her villainous plot and stay low, and not get involved with the other characters of the novel. She will give up the throne once Eclet appears. Lie low instead and not involve herself with the main characters of the story. All she needs is enough money to survive, leave the castle, and be happy like what her sister would have wanted. That was the plan. But life had other ideas. In the future Shaylia sees Eclet crying in the garden. She has a mental conflict on whether to approach the latter or not. Unable to just leave the woman crying, Shaylia approaches the crying Eclet to comfort her. In this moment, the Shaylia vows that she will protect Eclet and help make her the empress. I really enjoy isekai stories. I know there are plenty of stories similar to this one already, but they are just my guiltiest pleasure. Chapter 1. Princess Shaylia had a reputation for both beauty and cruelty. Her cutting words matched her fair looks with her long blonde hair and striking red eyes. Because of her cruel personality, understandably, people choose to avoid her. Which is why on the day Princess Shaylia died unexpectedly, there were few tears shed. One sunny morning, the princess awoke with little to no memory. She just had a haunting dream which she could not remember. To help jog her memory she read about the empire's history, how goddess Insonia rid the land of demons and established her divine rule. Shaylia pondered why, after their first queen, all rulers had been male, even her younger brother was deemed the crown prince instead of her. She sighed, thinking perhaps she should flee before the truth emerged that she was not the emperor's daughter. Slowly, memories from her dream returned. She realized she was in a novel and the heroine Eclet would soon arrive. She had to make preparations, but for now she would enjoy the royal luxuries a bit longer. During tea time, her maid reminds her of her upcoming wedding to Sir Tesric. The princess was shocked, she doesn't remember they were already set to be wed. Yes, in the novel Tesric and Shaylia were engaged, but his true match was the heroine Eclet, not the villainous Shaylia. Resolving to act, Shaylia deems her first course of action would be to nullify her engagement. Tesric, the eldest son of a prominent family, is a prodigy of the Knight's Order. He is the main hero of the novel and the political fiancé of Shaylia. Shaylia's role as the villain in the novel is to seethe with jealousy when she finds out about Tesric and Eclet. So she will commit despicable acts, and like any other villain, fall into ruin and die. We get a flashback of our characters attending a ball. At the grand affair, there are whispers that swirled about the princess standing alone while Tesric accompanied a mystery woman, who was Aclet herself. The sight filled Shaylia with murderous rage for her romantic rival. This burned the hatred of Princess Shaylia for Aclet in the novel. But these are events only in the novel. The present Shaylia has no intentions of hurting Aclet. She writes a letter calling off her engagement to Tesric, announcing that she will leave the castle as soon as she saves enough money. Meanwhile, Tesric is having tea in his household. He receives the letter with Shaylia's request. He doesn't take it seriously and assumes she is only asking for attention. Sipping his tea, he calls to respond to Shaylia's letter. A few days later, we see the princess outside for a walk. Her attending maid reminds her that she and Tesric are set to meet that day and further asks why the princess wanted to annul the engagement. The princess answers that she is too good for him. The maid agrees and calls Tesric boring. Suddenly the man in question appears from behind the bushes. She reminds him to greet her with respect, so Tesric bows and greets the princess properly. He wonders that there's something different about the princess. Inside the walls of the castle, Shaylia and Tesric are discussing the engagement. Tesric asks why she wants to break off their engagement. Perhaps she was only bluffing and she had a surprise for him. Shaylia thinks to herself that Tesric is being arrogant and that he isn't such a great male lead. Shaylia holds firm to her decision, but Tesric stubbornly disagrees. She clarifies with Tesric that she was genuine with the annulment, which Tesric takes with surprise. She continues that neither of them want to get married to each other anyway. Tesric explains that it's not as if he wasn't interested, but in the past Shaylia seemed serious about their marriage. With Tesric refusing to back down, the princess pulls her final trick up her sleeve. She announces that she has fallen for someone else. Tesric, hearing these words, double downs on preparations for their marriage. He explains that their marriage is only for alliance and not for love. She realized that Tesric is living in his own bubble and that nothing she says will get through to him. He doesn't even consider that he will be dumped, so he must have an amazing amount of confidence. But no matter, surely when his fated one Aclet arrives, things will go back to how they are supposed to be. But until then she has to pause the engagement. She tells him that recently she hasn't been feeling well, so it's better to postpone the preparations for the wedding. But anyway, she was the only one working hard on preparations anyway, so surely there is no problem for Tesric. The princess ends the conversation and dismisses him away. Outside, Tesric is stunned at being dismissed by the princess for the first time. Shaylia feels bad for sending off the main character Tesric, but she couldn't stand being with him any longer. She remembers that in the novel, Shaylia did everything for Tesric. Even Isonia's necklace, an item passed down from the goddess herself. Shaylia endured hardships to retrieve the necklace so she can give it to Tesric, but Tesric only had eyes for Aclet, and gives it to her instead. This fuels Shaylia's jealousy for Aclet further and attacks the lady with a dagger. The necklace deflects the attack, protecting Aclet. The present Shaylia admits that even Tesric's act of giving the necklace away to someone else is unforgivable. She recalls that the necklace is an important artifact in the novel and triggers several events for Aclet, such as attracting the attention of the dying emperor. So Shaylia decides that she needs that necklace for Aclet, but since she cannot stand out, she decides to give the task to someone else instead. We see Tesric reading a letter sent by the princess. The letter is asking him to prove his abilities as a knight of the empire by locating the lost artifact of the imperial family. She says that this will help improve her health. Tesric is skeptical and wonders what excuse will the princess have next time. It's a bright, sunny day, and the princess is out for a walk with her maid. After walking a while, she loses her way and finds herself on an unfamiliar path. Suddenly, she finds a huge structure. She approaches it, wondering what it is. The The princess peeks at the structure and enters after deeming it safe. She walks down the hallway of arches, her heels clacking on the brick flooring. At the end of the hallway, she sees bright light and exits to see herself staring at a tall tree in a clearing. Flower petals fill the air, and the princess sees a woman sleeping by the base of the tree. The blue hair of the woman allows the princess to recognize her as Saint Gibberlet. Saint Gibberlet is one of the people who contributed to Shaylia's demise and is Eclet's greatest ally. The scene shifts to one of the scenes in the book. Princess Shaylia is on the floor with Saint Gibberlet standing over her, calling Shaylia out for her villainous behavior and that she is a fake princess. The Princess Shaylia of the story accuses Saint Gibberlet of slander. In the end, the princess is dragged away, her sentence to be deemed by Lady Eclet. In the present, Princess Shaylia trembles as she remembers what transpired in the story. She immediately turns around, away from the saint, reminding herself to be careful when exploring the castle. Back at the hallway, the princess sees her maid, Marion, who has finally caught up to her. Together they return to the castle. It's now night time in the castle. The princess is reading a book on the bed, and Marion apologizes to her for having lost her. The princess gives her a smile that it's okay. The maids are worried that she got lost in the West Forest, but the princess assures them that there is nothing dangerous in the castle and apologizes herself for making them worry. Her smile of assurances brightens the room, and the maids wonder how quickly she changed in such a short time. A maid explains that there are rumors of monsters and cursed graves in the West Forest. The princess is less than impressed. A maid mentions the previous saintess and a ghost in the lake but was stopped by her fellow maid. The princess surmises the disappearance of the previous saintess may have caused all the rumors. She tries to rack her brain on what she knows about the previous saintess, who also happened to be Eclet's mother. The story says that the saintess fell in love with the previous emperor and had become pregnant with Eclet. This was said to be taboo, and after receiving a prophecy that she would lose Eclet had she stayed in the castle, the previous saintess escaped to a quiet monastery, gave birth to Eclet, and eventually passed away. Eclet was left an orphan. This was one of the biggest twists in the novel. The story continues that the previous emperor went insane after losing his beloved saint, and thus the current emperor assumed the throne instead. What makes Eclet special is that she has both the saintess Marner and the royal bloodline. This makes her the perfect heroine. Eclet's royal blood makes her and Shaylia cousins. But Shaylia in the novel was blinded by jealousy, which turned her into the villain. The present Shaylia declares to herself that she will not become the villain. She will earn enough money to leave the castle. At the temple, we see the current saintess Gibberlet, now awake. She is standing by the fountain waiting when a hooded figure approaches her. The figure pulls down the hood to reveal his blonde short hair. The saintess calls him Lapel. She thanks him for discovering that the empire's heir, Princess Shaylia, is of a fake bloodline, something that cannot be overlooked. Saint Gibberlet smiles diabolically, as if preparing plans for the future. Shaylia is hustling hard to redirect her story's villainous fate. That Tesric can be quite arrogant, but I'm sure he will win our hearts soon enough. I can't wait to meet Eclet. As for that cliffhanger, what is Gibberlet secretly plotting? It can't be good news for our Shaylia. Anyway, that's it for the story for now. See you guys for the next part soon. Bye bye.